Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Ding Dong Dante, who says, I, male 27, found out my wife, 25 female, has been cheating on me online with a young guy, 18 male. She first started talking to this guy last year when he was 17, and my wife 24. She became withdrawn, would let a lot of things slide, lose interest in her hobbies, the household, the kids, her friends, me. She admitted to me, in tears, that she started chatting to a guy from Omegle one night when bored. They'd exchanged contact details. She made a Snapchat just for him and so did he. They began chatting there regularly. This guy's handsome. He's young, he's an athlete, and he's fit as can be. He's funny, he's awesome, he mesmerizes her, makes her laugh all the time. She finds herself falling for him, and she admits her mistake to me. I'm so sad and upset, but I forgive her. She promises to block him, remove her app. Things are cool for a while, but months later, I find out she still has Snapchat. She says it's for other friends. I push the issue. Turns out she still talks to the guy. I'm not okay with this. She says they are just friends. I tell her to block his ass. She says she does. Around December last year, I discovered she never did block him. She still talks to him. I'm so fucking mad. I break into her phone one day and see a Snapchat open and a message from him. I love you, it says. Scroll up more and see a picture of my own wife's breasts staring at me in the face. She sent him her tits for his birthday. Once more, she blocks the guy. I think things are fine, but I'm starting to lose my feelings for my wife. One time around Christmas, my oldest daughter tells me, excitedly, that she had a phone call with Sebastian the Crab, like the buddy of Ariel the Little Mermaid from the Disney movie. I shrug it off. I mean, 4-year-olds make up shit all the time, right? And she has a very rich imagination. She constantly insists that she's a real fairy princess and claims to have magic powers and whatever. I found out just yesterday that my wife never stopped talking to the guy until this past February, when he suddenly ghosted her out of nowhere. Which makes sense because she was very sad and depressed all the time. She then deleted all her apps and accounts in anger, and now she has no way of contacting the guy or being contacted by him. Not sure if I even believe that anymore, but sure. She was sharing all she did to me, like she wanted it off her chest. I just let her talk and talk, and she admits to it all. Says she really fell in love with him. Mentions how she read a lot on Quora about polyamory. Quora, a fucking Bible. And that she feels like she can love multiple people at once. That her love for me has not diminished by loving another guy. I call bullshit. Then she admits she even had voice calls with the guy at night when I'm away. I often work night shift. At times our oldest daughter would wake up and he'd talk to her too. He sang her to sleep a few times and he pretended to be Sebastian the Crab, which is what my daughter tried to tell me. She tried to tell on her mama, I think, but I shrugged it off. I'm so insanely angry that she would allow herself as a grown woman to fall for some boy on the other side of the globe. I'm feeling betrayed by the fact that she showed her body to him. What makes me the most mad, however, is that he talked to my fucking daughter. He even saw a picture and a video. He called her Little Dua, like the singer Dua Lipa, because he thinks she looks like a toddler version of that singer. The whole thing is so creepy. The fact that he was just 17 when my wife met him online is creepy to me. The fact that she allowed him to talk to our firstborn daughter. It's all messed up. I fear she may have wanted to run off with the guy. She's talked a lot about the place he lives, California, and I'm just weirded out by that too. I don't know what to do. I'm heartbroken. My wife and I have a daughter, 4, another daughter, 2, and she is currently pregnant as well. She blames some of her behavior on pregnancy hormones, which is nonsense. She also tried to subtly push polyamory on me as well. I'm so done with her. But I also love our daughters and do not want them to grow up in a broken home. She's gone back to normal in some sense. She does her hobbies, she cares for the kids and runs the household as before. She is sweet to me at times. We make love often, but most of the time, as much as it pains me to say, I feel nothing. I'm 27 years old. I felt last year that I had it all. I felt on top of the world. Now I feel like I already lost it." The top commenter on this one said to OP, "OP, your wife lied to your face on 4 separate occasions about ceasing contact with this guy, shared explicit photos and allowed him to speak to your daughter. Only after he ghosted did she delete everything and express she still loves you. Obviously, any semblance of trust between the two of you is gone. What happens if she gets bored and starts chatting with a different guy? The fact that it appears she feels like she has done nothing wrong or only slightly wrong because she still loves you lots and lots is alarming. Do you think you will trust her again? If not, protect you and your daughter and start anew." OP replied to that saying, "I don't believe I will be able to fully trust her again. She's hurt me too much with what she did. The awful thing is that I still love her in so many ways. I still love her mind. I still love her sense of humor, her passion and her drive. I think she's an amazing mother. Or, well, I used to think so. Right now I'm not sure. I just don't know. But I don't think I can trust her anymore. And if I had the means and it was as easy as snapping my fingers, I'd have her leave by tomorrow. Thing is, I can't. My parents have busy careers. My siblings are busy too. No one could help me out in raising the kids if my wife was out of the picture. I want her out, but then what?" Aberdeen Strangler says, "Lawyer up and get her out of your house. You cannot in any way trust her now. You've given her multiple opportunities and she has lied and continued her behavior. She's even allowed this guy to interact with your child. Your wife may have issues that make her feel low, but she can get therapy. To repeatedly do this, she has shown how little she regards you. You need to get legal advice and she needs to leave. You've done nothing wrong and you shouldn't have to leave the family home. This is shit, OP, but you deserve way better treatment than you've been given." OP quotes the legal advice section and says, "Part of me wants her out of my sight because I resent her so much right now. But then she is also 4 months pregnant and I have a demanding job that does not enable me to take care of the children 24/7. So I'm stuck. I don't know what to do, honestly. I want to kick her out, but I also know that our daughters would ask for mama, and I don't know what I'd tell them." And quotes saying, "This is shit, OP," and says, "The way she tells it to me, she was discovering herself, finding herself. I don't know. She keeps comparing me to the guy too, and says I'm so cool for being able to talk about this with her. And it's just her sharing what she feels, and me breaking down inside every time she does." Someone said finding herself is the most bullshit and pathetic excuse a cheater uses, and OP quoted that and says, "The way she explained it, she married me when she was very young. Engaged at 19, married at 20, and she'd always had issues with the way her body looked, and deep-seated insecurities ranging from childhood. She felt undesired for the longest time, and this was her, reliving her teenage years. She also told me she was excited to be able to land a guy who was not only as handsome as he was, but very successful. He goes to a top university, Ivy League, and he's from a rich family as well. Basically, she told me she boosted her self-esteem and confidence enormously by having this affair. And she said she values me more now. But all the time she was talking about him, I feel this knife in my heart that just keeps being turned around, and I want to die already." I'm not sure if it's just the way the post is written, but the way it sounds like she's being in this situation as well, so blasé about it, I'm so glad I'm able to get this off my chest and talk to you about it, and you're so accepting of it, is really tripping me out. Absolutely, you need to get yourself out of that situation, OP, and you say about your family being busy, I would still talk to your family and see what can be done, because I know myself, I worry about burdening my family with things, but I know for a fact that they would drop everything in a heartbeat to help me, and I would do the same for them. But I would also ask yourself this: if that guy came back into your wife's life and left a message, what would she do? We all know what she would do. But OP sometime later came in with an update and said, "So here's an update. I've read all the responses to my previous topic, but did not find time to respond and reply to each and every one of them individually. The common thought seems to be that I need to man up and take responsibility of my life, and many have advised me to kick out my wife or seek legal counsel and start gathering evidence. Financially speaking, as a young father of soon-to-be 3 kids, I cannot just call up a lawyer like that. We're not Americans, and we're not in America either, so I do not know which laws do and do not apply to our situation. The guy she had our emotional affair with, however, is in the States, but they lost contact and my wife claims she does not know his last name or exact location. only his first name. Someone suggested that she was the one being catfished, but she says no, because she actually had video calls with the guy, and he took the images he had previously sent her. My wife admitted a lot of things to me in our talk. For example, she's a singer-songwriter, or rather, she tries to be one. She has written a lot of songs, passionate, romantic, and sweet-loving songs over the last half year. I was touched by them before, thought they were about me. Turns out, they weren't. Turns out they were about that guy. This devastated me. The whole affair, my wife said, inspired her. She told me how hardworking the guy is, how he is going to a top university, how clever and bright he is, blah blah blah. She says she considers me lazy, not ambitious enough, that I'm good with the kids and all that, a decent provider, but that I'm not really someone she sees as being capable of greatness. She likes the fact that I look good and our kids look good, and that I have a lot of focus on their well-being, but she needs a life partner, not just a babysitter. This infuriated me because when I take care of my fucking kids, I am not just a babysitter. I'm their father, and I'm caring for them because I love them and I'm responsible for them. She admitted she often thinks of going back to her own country and living with her parents. My in-laws are quite well-to-do, and my mother-in-law has a lot of time on her hands to help out. My wife is not originally from the same country as me. My wife said she'd take the kids, follow her dreams in the city she studied in, but she thinks will give her a better chance at success. She also regrets having married me in the first place. She says that she wouldn't have married me if she knew at the time how lazy I was. For the record, I'm not lazy. I work night shifts 3 nights a week, and also work during days several other days. On the evenings I'm home, I manage to cook at least twice a week. I do groceries, pick up the kids from school, make them sleep too regularly. I handle the kids on the evenings I'm free to allow my wife to go to classes to develop herself. She is pregnant, and I massage her at times for up to 90 minutes so her back and legs won't be too painful. I'm a fucking hero to that woman, and she does not realize it. Instead, she compares me to some other guy she's never even met in person, and somehow I don't quite measure up because I didn't go to a top school. I'm not rich, I'm less ambitious, and this makes me lazy and useless. So now I'm looking at my options. I'm 27 years old. I'm in decent shape and not a bad looking guy. I'm a good father, I'm a good provider, and I'm a good son and a loyal friend. I've been a good husband too, but apparently I'm not good enough. Well, guess what? Neither is she. She's far from sufficient. She's far from good enough. But I never say 1% of that hateful and negative shit she tells me. Never. I've told her all this. I told her how I feel. I told her that I do not feel respected, that I feel like shit, treated like shit, tossed aside like shit, that I will not continue to support her in her dreams if this is what she wants to do. I also told her she's not going to take the kids anywhere, that if she wants to leave, she can leave, but she will do it by herself. She's not a citizen yet of my country, and I reminded her of that fact, whereas our kids are. I've taken a hold of our kids' passports and now hold them with me as I write this. I'm not letting go of them. If she wants to leave, she can, but it will just be her and the unborn baby leaving, and she won't bring any of my stuff with her. That laptop she's been using to chat to the guy on, is now with me too. I bought that fucking laptop. I'm taking it back. I'm taking back control of my life. I'm still considering what further steps I will take, but whatever she has planned, I'm not about to lay down and take it. Since telling me all this, and her hearing my response, all of us as a family have attended a family event. My wife pretended to be fine. She has stopped saying negative things to me. She's not on the phone anymore. I distrust her, but even though I've told her where the door is, she has not left the house either. I think she's backing down a bit by now. Commenter said on this one, can your kids have dual citizenship? Just be careful she doesn't start applying for passports in her nationality. In the absence of a lawyer, try Google or Reddit. Your situation sounds horrible. I couldn't live with her after what she said. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Funny Blacksmith 8868, and it says, today I fucked up. Entire class decided to write letters to a prisoner. This happened a long time ago, when I was 16. Our school participated in the International Baccalaureate program, that allowed us to take some intense classes and finish high school with a lot of college credits. Even if you didn't complete the entire program, the courses were a great college prep. I decided my junior year of high school that I would take IB French. It says IB French, is it one or I? I do apologize, which was completely immersive. Our teacher required us to answer everything in French. Want to go to the restroom? Ask in French. Have a question about the homework? Ask in French. She assigned the entire first chapter of the first day of class due the next day. Every exercise from beginning to end. It was 20 pages. The class originally had 20 people signed up, however the assignment left the class with only 5 of us. With students willing to put in the work, our teacher worked hard to give us an all-round education in French. We read French novels, watched French TV, discussed French history and politics. Keep in mind this was in the late 90s, so the internet was not readily available. I also lived in Central Appalachia. I can feel the comments typing already on my pronunciation. So just having this program was an amazing opportunity, but our resources were limited. She went above and beyond to give us work that was both hard and interesting. I remember reading Asterix and Obelix comics books in French, and I once had a scavenger hunt around my school in total French directions. Needless to say, my teacher was always trying a variety of ways to keep up working our French skills. One day she had us reading a French magazine for translation. I believe it was Le Monde, and in the middle of class she tells us she has a great idea. While we were working, she was looking into the classified section of the paper, just curious to see what is sold, who is interested in what topic, etc. There, among all the want ads, was an advertisement about a Frenchman in a maximum security prison in Colorado, looking for someone to write in French. His name was Maxim, and it gave us an address to write to. Wouldn't that be a great way to sharpen our French skills and writing skills? Here is where the 5 of us screwed up first. We all immediately got our papers and began writing to this Maxim, no questions asked. Now, it wasn't complete stupidity on our part. We didn't give our full names or addresses, but mailed from our school, which admittedly isn't much of a cover for any of us since we are a very rural area and would be easy to find us. But we write our letters, which I know dates my age. If you ever wrote letters to a complete stranger, the first letter is usually introducing yourself to the receiver, telling about yourself, your life, your family, which, of course, we did. Do you know what we didn't do? We didn't think the guy in prison with the ability to place an ad in Le Monde could be that serious of a criminal. And at first, he wasn't. The first letter he wrote back that our teacher was an angel and our letters were a bright spot in an otherwise dark existence. He wrote about how lonely it had been without the opportunity to interact with his native language. He eagerly looked forward to our correspondence. So our little pen pal situation continued until Maxim decided that we needed to hear his tragic tale of woe. Keep in mind, we were high school students, so our translation skills were not professional. But what I remember from the letter, it went like this. Maxim was just a simple man. He arrived in America to gain the American dream. He began by running a business in exporting leather goods, but found out he needed connections to get his inventory into the country. Enter a partner, who assured him that he can get his cargo into America without too much delay with customs. Of course, he had no idea that this partner was running drugs. How could he? It wasn't until his business got raided that he discovered all the money he had been getting from his partner just happened to be laundered in his export business. At least that's what the FBI explained when he was arrested. So now our French class was in a dilemma. We'd been writing this guy, and honestly, we hadn't given any thought as to why he was in Colorado. Still, we certainly hadn't thought we'd stumble onto a mob money launderer who thought we were angels and told us he would eventually get out in a few years. None of us really wanted to continue this. Luckily, school was finishing and we all agreed that it would be best if we conveniently forgot about all this. We also never told anyone. Not out of some solidarity, but it didn't cross our minds that this was something our parents needed to know. Besides, our teacher knew. Who else needed to? Our senior year starts, and our IB French teacher comes in and asks which one of us told Maxim about her birthday. Blank stares all around. We didn't know her birthday. She tells us she got a birthday card from Maxim at her home address. We also didn't know that either, because while our tiny Appalachian town didn't have extensive internet, apparently his prison did. Or at least that was the only logical conclusion we could come up with. So complete no contact with Maxim and the rest of the year, and we all dreaded the idea that he had the ability to find where we lived. I now teach at this same school with a French teacher, and we both marvel at the fact that she gave us the assignment of writing an unknown prisoner with no concern to our safety, and that we, as students, willingly participate with these letters without telling anyone. So, I learned, just because the teacher says to do, you might want to think about the unintended consequences of that assignment. Someone says, have you ever looked him up? It'd be interesting to find out what he did. Opie says yes, actually the French teacher, who is now my co-worker, would look him up from time to time to discover the end of his prison sentence. It was like 5 to 6 years later. He was deported back to France as soon as his sentence was served, because she kept tabs. She also learned that there was a lot to his list of crimes that he had downplayed in his letters. His deportation was the last thing she could find. Anony Mouse says, I don't necessarily see that as a fuck up. Certainly not on your part. Maybe a little on your teacher/co-worker. But sometimes poor decisions make for the best stories and the best memories. I graduated in the 90s, so I'm a few years older than you, and I had the opportunity in 10th grade, before the fall of the Berlin Wall, to go to the Soviet Union with my social studies teacher. Went so far as to get my passport, but I chickened out at the last minute. I still regret not going to this day. Sounds like you had an amazing teacher. Opie says, our fuck up was not asking rather important questions. Like, how much do we know about this person? Or do you really think answering an ad in the back of a French magazine is a legitimate, safe assignment? No hesitation, just acceptance, and then we all continued to write this guy. Even when his letters took a turn, we were afraid to change our behavior. So we kept writing, never telling another soul who our pen pal was. At 16, we were naive. It was a fun class when we weren't stressing out over the IB evaluations. And at some point later, he comes in with an update and then briefly explains the first post and then says, now onto some updates. So my coworker and I had a chance to talk today. I asked her if she still had Maxim's letter because I would love to read it again. She laughed and says she does have it somewhere, but she's not certain where. But as we were talking, she did have some things that I need to clarify. So my memory wasn't what it used to be. She told me it was a French newspaper that we were reading called Francophone. That was published in America. I did have the ad right, but it wasn't in Colorado. He was imprisoned in Oregon. And I knew the letter was long, but it was 8 pages instead of 3. She said she read the whole saga. She thought one of two things, either he was delusional or it was true. She remembered much of the information that I have already said. So the smuggling, drugs, arrest, all the same. However, she told me that she remembered he told her that before he was arrested, his wife and he were held hostage by a Colombian drug cartel for a year. Somehow he and his wife escaped, though she couldn't remember how it happened. It wasn't until they left the cartel that Maxim was arrested by the American government. She did have an update on Maxim's current life. He lives in Israel now. She thought it had to do with some extradition laws, but that was a few years ago too. To be honest, I wrote this post because I don't talk about this much, and the telling of my tale would die in an internet void. I really didn't anticipate all the responses and interest, so thank you. But at the same time, I hope Maxim is well and doesn't remember our class. Otherwise, this will become Today I Fucked Up by posting on Reddit about a French criminal who found me again. And I did speak to the OP, I did say, do you mind if I read this out? Because just in case for some random reason, Maxim's on YouTube. But what do you guys make of this situation? I just found that as an absolute wild one. Imagine getting that information back and thinking you still have to write to this guy. Holy shit. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time, it always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved, truly. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.